You're excited because you just got a brand new light meter and you can't wait to go out and put a couple of test rolls through your camera. But the only problem is you have no idea how to actually use this thing. Well, no worries. Today I'm breaking it down with a basic tutorial on using a light meter to shoot film. This is Bite-Sized Business, where we're helping entrepreneurs become the hero of their own creative small business. I'm your host, Abby Grace. I'm an international photographer who also loves educating for other creative small business owners. So here on Bite-Sized Business, we do a lot of strategy for creative entrepreneurs, as well as tips and tricks for growing photographers. So if that sounds like your brand of strawberry jam, make sure you guys hit subscribe. So first of all, what is the purpose of a light meter? Simply put, it measures the amount of light that's either falling on or reflected by any given situation in which you're shooting. So as photographers, we know that there are three main ways of influencing how much light enters your camera, and that's ISO, f-stop or aperture, and shutter speed. So with your light meter, you're gonna go ahead and plug in two of those three settings and allow your light meter to determine the third based on the lighting in your shooting situation. Step number one is gonna be enter your ISO. So the ISO for the Sekonic 858 goes right up here. That's the light meter that I use. Here's the thing with ISO that's different from film than it is with digital. You have to shoot the whole roll at the same ISO. So if you have a roll of color film and you want to shoot it at box speed is the number ISO that's attached to the film. So if it says 400 on the box, it's a 400 speed film. The whole roll has to be exposed at ISO 400 because you can't change it in the middle of the roll like you could with digital. All that whole roll is going to go in the same batch of chemicals, so there's no way to manipulate half the roll at 200 or half the roll at 400. Here's the thing about basic color film stocks. Films like Fuji 400H, Portra 400, Portra 800, they tend to be really light hungry. So even though the box speed says that it's a 400 or an 800 speed film, you actually get really beautiful results if you tell your light meter to rate for a less sensitive film stock. So when I'm shooting with Fuji 400, I will usually tell my light meter to measure for a 200 speed film. If I'm shooting with Portra 800, I will tell my light meter to measure for a 400 or a 640 speed film because I want my light meter to account for a film that is less sensitive to light. And by that, what I mean is that I literally type in a different ISO number into my light meter to make sure that it's telling me to measure for a slower film speed to let in more light. Now that we've entered our ISO, step two, you're going to enter your aperture. So the reason that I determine my aperture instead of allowing my light meter to tell me what f-stop I should be shooting at is because f-stop has a huge impact on the look and feel of my work. My work is characterized by soft, creamy bokehs, beautiful skin tones, and shooting at a certain aperture helps me achieve that look. So I want to make sure that I'm letting my light meter know I'm going to be shooting at either 2.8 or 4.0, not usually above that because that f2.8, f4.0 helps me to keep that soft, creamy background to my work. Step number three, take your light meter reading. So we can do this in two ways. We could take an incident reading, which uses this white bulb, also called a lumisphere, or we can take a spot meter reading, which measures for a much smaller part of your frame, enabling you to get pinpoint accuracy for that portion of the frame. Any light meter you purchase is definitely going to have a lumisphere, which can take incident readings. Not all light meters are going to come with a spot meter. So if you bought an entry-level light meter, it's probably not going to have one of these, but that's okay because most films are generally okay with being measured with an incident reading. An incident reading, when taken with a bulb, is going to measure for the light that's falling on your subject or on the scene that you're photographing. And so when you're taking an incident reading, you want to make sure that you're holding your light meter in the same light that's falling on your subject. So if you're photographing a bride and groom and they're standing in full sun, you want to make sure that you're getting full sun on your light meter. If you're photographing a family and they're in the shade of a tree, make sure that you're taking a light meter reading in the shade of the tree. Otherwise, you're going to get pretty wonky results. A spot meter, however, is going to measure for the amount of light that's reflected back off of your subject. Step number four, take the shutter speed that your light meter tells you need for that given situation and plug it into your camera. When I say plug it into your camera, I literally mean adjust the shutter speed dial until it matches whatever your light meter has told you your reading should be. And that's the basic gist of it. Guys, there are so many other things that you can do to customize the way that you use your light meter, but to try to include all of those here would be super overwhelming. So my best advice to you is to go out and shoot. Test it, try it out, put several rolls through your camera, use your light meter, use it in full sun, use it in shade, use it in any given situation that you can think of, and see how it works out for you. And if you find you have questions, please come back here and ask me, because I would love to answer those for you. So like every YouTuber ever will ask, if you like this episode, make sure you guys hit like and then definitely subscribe, because there's so much more goodness where that came from. We'll catch you guys next time on Bite Size Business.